John likes tech and lives in Indiana, you know. Kevin likes the Dodgers and talks on the radio. John plays games on Xbox and on his Nintendo, while Kevin runs around LA with his mustachio. It's the Lack of Genius podcast, in your ear holes at last. They don't know they're Mars from Venus, that's why it's the Lack of Genius podcast. I feel like I should just start right in with episode 52, John. We did it.
1 year.
We did it. Yeah.
We have.
It's 1 year. I am, we've been, this is a long, I can't believe how long this cheer goes. I had no idea when this, let's just keep it going. Yeah, John and Kevin, John and Kevin. Okay, that's enough of you. Yeah, man, congratulations. Yeah. Thank you. You're awesome. You. Go us. We have officially reached a year. Ironically, we officially reached a year last week, but we called it episode 51 and a half to make sure that this week, 52 was the official 1 year celebration. How are you feeling, John?
Technically, this is episode 54.
Wait, what?
Because we had the episode 0.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we technically had the episode 0, and
last week would have been 53.
Yes.
And this is 54.
And if we get more technical, 52 marks our 52nd episode, but technically week 53 would be, okay, a year ago this weekend, we started the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. It is crazy. And yeah, it was right around.
There is a year of weeks worth of podcasts, I think is how I want to say it.
Yeah, there you go. And technically, even though it's 50, this is episode 52, and I don't care what you say about it, but technically, we're starting like week 1 of year 2 right now, right?
Yeah.
Because it's technically 53, or 54. It's our 54th episode, but our 53rd week. Do you think anybody listening to us right now is following what's going on?
Maybe. It's possible. I don't know.
That was not a knock on you if as our audience. I'm saying we are being very confusing right now, but I followed every moment of it, and I'm so glad we did this deep dive. So, yeah, John and I, much like we did for our episode 26 extravaganza, which is our halfway point to 52, which is 1 year, we have prepared quizzes, just kind of, we're here to celebrate, first of all, but we've prepared quizzes to sort of recap the last 26 weeks, essentially, of episodes, and kind of relive some of those moments. And I have no idea what John's quiz contains. I don't, unless you looked ahead at mine, which is fine if you did. You have no idea what mine contains.
Nope, I haven't.
I forget which question it is, but I'm like, I bet you we have one question that's the same. Not so much like, oh yeah, for sure we did. I'm like, if anyone's the same, it's going to be this one. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I do have one 50-50 question for you.
Okay, cool.
It's not a true or false, but...
It's not true or false. This is a plug before we get into our tidy up. I included a question that it's a format that we've never done before. I don't even know how to describe it, and I'll wait till we get it. It's not true false. It's not multiple choice, but you'll see when we get there. I'm very excited to share this question. And I have a feeling the person listening is too, and they're like, what could it be then? So, I don't know, unless you got anything else on your mind, let's just tidy things up so we can get to quiz time. All right, here we go. Tidy up before we go any further with the show. Tidy up before we go fix our mistakes tonight. I wanna get it right. Tidy up. The ironic thing is I feel like we spent the first 3 minutes of this episode tidying up what this episode is. All we've been doing is tidying up thus far. But this is what we're gonna call it. We went into this dry, John. We didn't discuss anything that we had to tidy up.
No, we didn't. Yeah.
I know that it would be important to important, but just fun to share that we do have a store available. We do have merchandise available now, and that's something that we want to continue to talk about. We were talking about this in the pre-show. Where can they find this merchandise, John?
At lackofgenius.com/store. Scroll down a little bit. There's a button that says click here.
We've got a /store. Yeah, it technically takes you to an external site, which is our dealer. We have a t-shirt dealer, and that's where you can buy t-shirts, you can buy hoodies, and we were just discussing adding some new features, some new options, right?
We are, and I think those are going to get offered. So
good. I know what I had for tidy up that I would like to share with you, because if we're doing a tidy up right, we are discussing things that happened in previous episodes, right? And I guess there's no wrong or right way to do a tidy up. But so last episode was 51 and a half. I don't have anything to tidy up from that other than we were awesome. But
As
from
always.
from the dodgeball episode, my sister sent this really cool text, and I meant to share this with our guest, John Nieva, another John. But John was making jokes about how in elementary school he had to roll the dodgeball because there were too many injuries, and he made jokes about like because people were losing their eyes and he was like over exaggerating it. My sister sent a text and she said, I really enjoyed that. My sister is a 4th grade teacher, by the way. I really enjoyed that episode because we actually do play dodgeball at my school. Our 4th grade has dodgeball tournaments throughout the year. We have a trophy and everything, but we got some complaints this year and we're worried they're going to take it away from us. So what Erica said is, but I already shared John's knowledge about throwing underhand to my coworkers. So if they come at us, we're going to counter with that option, which I loved. So yeah, I guess it is a dangerous sport for kids if you think about like, let's encourage them to throw stuff at each other. But my sister in the past many times has talked about how much fun her kids enjoy dodgeball. So to have it taken away would be a travesty.
Maybe they could do the cloth balls.
Yeah, they could do exactly. Well, the cloth balls hurt more, apparently, right?
Oh, yeah, they may hurt more, but I mean, are you going to lose an eye to it? I mean,
that's a good point. You know what? 4th graders can find any way to lose an eye. Let's face it.
That's true.
They can.
at that rate, you shouldn't let them have pencils.
Yeah, what we should do is we should just not allow 4th graders to use their hands or feet for any reason whatsoever, and then everything will be safe.
They just shouldn't exist.
They just shouldn't exist.
It's time to take a quiz or two. Like a genius podcast doing this for you. You may fail, but it ain't no lie. Baby, it's quiz time. Don't really want this quiz to be tough. I just want to pass one cause I failed enough. It might sound crazy, but it ain't no lie. Baby, it's quiz time.
I don't know how deep you dug in for your quiz, John. I dug somewhat deep. Like I actually spent some time. I listened to an episode or two, but I had a lot of fun going back and revisiting it. Kind of rejuvenated me, for lack of better words. You know, any project, you would sometimes need a spark. And wow, we've done a lot of stuff, man. We've done a lot of good stuff. So it was fun for me to relive it, and I'm hoping that this episode 52 extravaganza for our listener is a nice little treat for those who've been with us to sort of relive some moments. And if you haven't been with us the whole time, maybe you'll hear something in this episode that you're like, oh, I want to see what that was about, and go revisit it. So that's my secret agenda here.
Cool.
What do you think, John? Any desire to ask first or second? I'll let you choose.
I don't, but I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead. I'll answer the first question. Let's hear it.
So which episode is the second most listened to episode?
Wow. All time?
Of all time.
Of all time.
Episode 1, The Beginning, but for reals.
Okay.
Episode 17, The Hosts Play Cornhole.
Wow.
Episode 5, The Voyage Home. Or episode 16, The Hosts Search for Bigfoot.
Shout out Devin, our Bigfoot expert, man. I love that episode. Wow. Okay. Episode 1. So our second most listened to episode. So I'm not trying to identify the most listened to. Episode 1, The Beginning for Reals. Episode 17, The Hosts Play Cornhole. Episode 5, The Voyage Home, which was about our hometowns. And episode 16, The Hosts Search for Bigfoot. Wow. Okay. So I would have guessed... And I get, obviously this still could be the case. I would have guessed that episode 1 was the most listened to episode, The Beginning, but for reals. It's funny because I have looked at these statistics before, but I do not know. I can't place it. My logic may be wrong on this, but in fact, it most likely is. I'm wondering if our technical episode 0 is the most listened to ever because it's so short. And that when people go back and read it, because the reason episode 1 is so popularly listened to is it's like if you have to start somewhere, you start with episode 1. But maybe people are seeing episode 0 and clicking that even before episode 1. Oh boy, okay, let me do one more logic thing here. That episode 1 is our most listened to episode, and one of these other 3 options is the second most. That might be more likely. But after all of that discussion amongst myself, I'm going to stick with episode 1 being our second most listened to episode. I'm going to lock it in. Dang it, man. You hit that thing fast, too. You're like, shut up, Kevin. You're wrong. Here's the answer.
It's The Host Play Cornhole, episode 17.
Wow. So one is the most listened to then.
Yeah. Yeah. By 22 listens at the moment.
It's beating Cornhole by 22 listens.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. And The Voyage Home, episode 5, is the third most listened to.
Wow.
And then episode 16 is actually the 5th most listened to.
Yeah, I remember a while back our Bigfoot expert Devin. I mentioned that to him. I was like, your episode is up there pretty high. So Bigfoot's bringing people in. The cornhole episode. What do you think it is about the? I mean, look, it was a great episode. Our guest.
I think our guest just was able to push it out there enough that we got extra stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I figure he probably posted it on either his Facebook or the cornhole thing. Maybe it's popping up in searches, but cornhole is killing it for us, huh?
Right? Yeah.
I like the idea of now the listeners knowing that episode that there's 22 listens behind for the cornhole episode. Someone could go and listen, just put it on repeat 23 times, and it'll take over. So if you want to do that, we will forever be grateful to you because it would crack us up. That would crack me up so hard. Well, I'm 0 for 1. You ready for number 1 on my episode 52 quiz?
I am.
In the past 25 and a half episodes, how many times did John say the first word of the podcast? And this does not include the theme song because technically, I guess I have the first word in every podcast, not including the theme song. So we come out of the theme song. How many times did John say the first word? This is just in the past 25 and a half episodes. 0, 2, 4, or 6.
See, here's the thing. I know when I talk first when we're recording, but you could always just edit that out and make you be the first one to talk.
That's true. It's funny. I had that thought as well, but I don't believe I did that. And if I'm not mistaken, John, we learned in episode 26 that you never listen to the podcast.
I usually don't. No.
You could theoretically have a general idea about this if you just listen to our podcast.
I know. But I don't want to skew the results. You know, our stats are clean that way. You know,
they are. Yeah, I don't believe I ever actually edited any of your talking, and it was always genuine.
I'm gonna go with 6.
You're locking in 6, John?
Yep.
That is correct, John. Good job. Yeah, you said it 6 times, which was much more than I expected. In fact, when I did this, and this is more of a commentary on me, I just feel like I take over sometimes and I lose control. And so I'm like, I'm just going to start this podcast and I steal the opportunity from you. But there was a streak where you were doing it pretty consistently. And I literally have the episodes marked. It doesn't really matter what they are, but episodes 27, 29, 30, 32, 33, those are all you. And then you also started episode 49. So you can see from 27 through 33, there was a good... And in fact, on episode 34, I started and I literally said, John, you've been saying the first word a lot lately, so I'm taking it today. Fun fact. Okay. Oh, here's a fun, I didn't even think about this. I think you're going to know the answer to this. You say the same thing every time in all, in all 6 of those episodes.
Hi, Kevin.
Hey, Kevin. It's hey Kevin in every single one. But what's fun is I should have pulled out all the clips. There's a different inflection behind it. Some of them are hey Kevin, and some of them are hey Kevin. Hey Kevin. It's all the different ones. And just to finish off the thought, there is one episode where I suggest that you take the first word, but in the process, I realize that I have taken the first word by saying that. And there is one episode that starts with me howling, which is still me, but it's not a word. And that was the Where the Wild Things Are episode. So there you go. Six of the last 25 and a half were brought on by you, John. Good job.
Cool. 25%-ish.
Yeah, right around there.
So how many episodes have had guests?
Okay, yes. I did not write this question, and I deliberately didn't count how many. This is all time, correct?
Yep.
Wow, okay, what are my choices? Sorry, I cut you off.
13, 14, 15, or 16. and I should specify guests that either answered or provided questions.
Okay,
so the one with Jeff where he was talking about the logo, I did not count.
Sorry, yes, Jeff, once again, you matter, my friend, and you were a guest on our podcast, but in that instance, you were not an official guest.
And I should say how many different guests, not how many episodes have had guests.
Oh, that was the differentiation I was going to say, because...
Which I did put how many episodes have had guests, but Yeah.
Really, the question is, how many guests have we had?
Yeah.
Because and just to clarify, Ben Magnet has been on our episode, has been on our show twice.
Right.
But it's not, he would count as just one, even though he's been on twice.
Right.
Correct? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And now I'm going to go double check my math.
Okay. I am going to play it relatively safe and choose the lowest number and say 13 and lock it in. All right. Oh my
That's
gosh.
the number I have. And so
Yeah.
we'll go through it here. You want to
Okay.
go from beginning or end?
Yeah, go from our very first guest ever and let's go
Okay.
up.
So, and what we'll count together. So we've got Julian, who did Dungeons and Dragons. So that's one. And then we've got Greg with our Ultimate Frisbee episode. So that's two. Then we have my sister with the documentary. So that's three. And then we got Devin with Bigfoot. So that's four. We got James with Cornhole. That's five.
James Cornhole.
And then we didn't have any for a few weeks. And then we had Barry with joggling. So that's six. And then we got your sister on your birthday. That's seven.
I feel like, no, we missed Jeff was before that, right? Jeff about logging.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that's eight.
Yep.
And then we got Ben with the retro games.
Yeah, Ben
So that's
Magnet.
nine.
Because we've had two Ben guests. Yeah.
Right. And then we had the other Ben for rugby.
Ben Wishadell with rugby. That's 10. Oh, I'm so nervous and excited.
And then we had Alyssa with opera.
Was 11.
And then we had David on for Earth Day. So that's 12.
12.
And then Ben again. So he doesn't get counted twice.
Doesn't get counted.
And then we had John on for dodgeball.
John with Dodgeball was 13. And wow, are we appreciative of those people, man. I think, the majority of our episodes have been you and I think we do a great job. But I think some of our best episodes are definitely ones where we have guests because A, we're not expected to be the brilliant person. That's always a scary thing when we're the ones in charge. But B, they just bring this extra energy that is always so fun to see where the episode's going to go. So 13 guests all time, and we're hopefully going to keep expanding that number. In fact, next week we have your aunt and uncle on quizzing us about sailing. So that episode that will already increase our number.
Yeah, I mean, and I think I've already told you this, Kevin. I know Uncle Dale was talking to me a little bit about it, but he did not provide me with any questions.
Okay.
But he did say that I know one question is a multi-parter.
Okay.
So
are you saying this just to sort of be like, don't worry, Kevin, I don't have any inside information about this?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yes. You know me. I hate when you cheat. You cheat all the time. No, actually, we've been pretty good about not.
Yeah.
We're both very honorable in the sense that it's almost not even honor. It's just like it's more fun when we don't have any. I'd rather come with no knowledge of what's going on and just take it from there. So I do feel like that's something we very much have in common, and I appreciate about you. Okay, are you ready for number 2 on my quiz?
Sounds good.
This is the different question, and we're going to go, I'll explain this, and we'll go through each one at a time, all right? But we learned this in episode 26. At the very end of each episode, Kevin, add a short clip from the episode after the theme song. It's something that somebody said that's kind of taken out of context. So I've listed 5 of those below, and I will read them for you. You have to correctly identify 3 out of the 5 in order to get this answer correct. So you can miss 2 of them, but you get 3 out of 5 and you'll get an overall point. So what I'll do is I'll read it, I'll have you make your guess, and then I'll play the clip so we can find out who actually said it.
And these are only me and you, right? None of our guests?
I can neither confirm nor deny. The question is who said this is the question, all right?
Okay.
So let's start with the first one. The first one, what is said is, do you ever shake the tail feathers? Who said that, John?
Is that from the Thanksgiving episode?
Should I answer that? It's I'll answer that. No, it's not. It's not from that episode. So you don't remember this being said necessarily.
I vaguely, but I don't remember the context.
Yeah, I'm not judging you for that. I'm asking. Yeah,
Right?
okay. So that makes this a lot of fun.
I'm guessing it's something that you said though.
You can't remember the context, but you're thinking, do you ever shake the tail feathers is something that I said.
Right.
Are you ready to choose that?
Yes.
Okay, so you're saying I said, do you ever shake the tail feathers? I'm going to play the clip. It'll have just the tail end of our theme song, and then you'll hear it. Here we go.
Do you ever shake the tail feathers? No?
It was you. It was
It
you.
was.
And it was so funny, John, because it was the pigeon episode, and we were at some point I was talking about my grandpa's pigeons and the tail feathers, and do you ever shake the tail feathers? Which is a popular hip hop song from back in the day with P. Diddy and Nelly, and it was, John, that cracked me up so bad.
Do you ever shake the tail feathers?
All right, John. So you're 0 for 1 on this. You got to get 3 out of the next 4 right. You ready for the next one?
Yep.
The quote is, "Let's talk about hookers." Do you have any recollection of this? This is already more fun for me than I thought it would be.
Right? I'm going to say you.
You're going to say me. All right. You ready to hear the answer?
Yeah.
Here we go.
So let's talk about hookers.
Do you recognize that?
Ben.
It was Ben. Yep, and it was in reference to reference to rugby, because there's a position called hookers, and I remember we didn't make a big deal out of it in the moment, but clearly there was an implication that this is a very funny name, right? So we got the.
So let's talk about hookers.
I'm starting to realize, John, that I have. If this question was presented to me, I'd have a huge advantage because I edit and choose these.
Right.
And so this is a much different experience for me than it is for you. But let's see if you can get the next 3 right. We'll go through them regardless, all right? So the next quote is, "Anything that is wiener-shaped and put in a bun."
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about sandwiches and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I remember that.
Right. Yep, that's exactly when this came up, yeah.
What episode were we talking about sandwiches? Oh, that was Memorial Day.
Yeah, yep. It was, because we were talking about hot dogs.
I think that was you.
You gonna choose me?
Mm-hmm.
Anything that is wiener shaped and put in a bun. Yep, there it is, because that was that's a hot dog. That's just
definition of a hot dog.
Yep. All right, John. You're staying alive. Let's go to the 4th one. You got to get the next 2 right. The next quote is, "What would you consider a yummy-licious birthday shot?"
I think that was me, and it was from your birthday episode.
All right, you want to find out?
Yeah. What would you consider a yummy-licious birthday shot?
This is too much fun, John. I hope the listener is having as much fun as I am, because this is cracking me up. Yeah, Erica, my sister, I went on a scavenger hunt on my 30th birthday, and you had to determine which of these 4 was not one of the things that I had to do. And one of the choices was you had to go to a bar and order a yummy-licious birthday shot, which I did have to do. And John, you asked the appropriate question, which was,
what would you consider a yummy-licious birthday shot?
It was like a pineapple upside down cake shot that I ended up taking, for the record. All right, John, you have come back. So we've done 4 of them. You're 2 for 4. You have to get this one right in order to get the point for this question. And the quote is, "The giant inflatable hamster balls with mannequins in them." Who said that?
I think that was you.
And do you remember the context? Why do you think it was me?
I don't remember the context, but I think it was you.
You think I said it? Are you ready to choose it, knowing that whether you get a point for this is on the line?
Yep.
Okay, you're saying it was me. Here we go.
The giant inflatable hamster balls with mannequins in them.
It was you, John. Now, technically we both said it, but it was about the Aquabats, and it was about what the Aquabats wore.
Oh, that's right.
Crowd surfing in a race, and I gave you 4 options. The correct answer was little kids on inflatable pool toys, but one of the answers I came up with was
the giant inflatable hamster balls with mannequins in them.
and that was you choosing it as the answer. You were incorrect. Man, John, I feel bad. I really do, but I have to give you, despite the fact that I'd like to give you, but unfortunately you are now 1 for 2 on this. I do quickly want to, this was my favorite part of making this quiz, is I literally went back and listened to every single one and chose my favorites. This was one of the ones that I really enjoyed.
Yes, John, you did have it correct. And Kevin, yes, you're still back in kindergarten.
That was our guest, David Radcliffe, and he burned me good, man. And then this is very much similar to the Shake the Tail Feathers ones, but this is one of my all-time favorites.
Well, you could drop it like it's hot.
Yes, John, we can drop it like it's hot. All right, John, so that puts you at 1 for 2. I am I'm also 1 for 2, and we're going into number 3.
Besides the United States, what country has listened to us the most? And this is of all episodes. Russia, United Kingdom, Spain, or Canada?
We are an international podcast, aren't we, John?
We are. Yes, we are.
Russia, United Kingdom, Spain, Canada. So obviously we have the most listens in the United States, being that is the country that we live in, and
But by a long shot.
yeah, I was going to say, the majority of our audiences as we started and as we've grown have been people growing, not growed, because that's not a word, have been
Grown.
people that we know, and then the community that has reached out from there. All right. The 2 that jump out to me are United Kingdom and Canada. UK, partly because James, our cornhole guest, that is the country of origin for him. He was born and raised in the United Kingdom. He currently lives in America now, in Southern California. So maybe he had and being that our cornhole episode is the second most listened to, maybe there's a connection there. Canada would seem to make some sense only because it's, basically America Junior, right? It's got a close, you just go over some of those lakes and you're already in Canada.
Kevin's viewpoint, not mine. I believe Canada is the better of the 2.
I was going to say, I do not necessarily mean that as a bad thing. In fact, I don't even think America is Canada Junior, because that's an insult to Canada. We are our own entity, and I don't necessarily say that as a good thing. I am grateful for our freedom. I'm grateful to be an American. I will say that. But gosh dang it, Canada, you guys are so freaking cool, man. I would love to be a Canadian. But who knows? Is Russia or Spain randomly our second most listened to? Like, maybe it's only 4 listens, and that's our next most listened to. Here's what I'm going to do. I think that Canada is probably the most logical, but I'm going to go against logic, and I'm going to choose United Kingdom. I'm going to say the UK has our second most amount of listens. Dang.
It is Spain.
It is Spain. Okay, so it wouldn't have mattered. Any idea what what are the numbers? What is that about?
Yeah, so all time, United States, obviously, with 95% of our listens, if not more. Like more like 99%, maybe.
Okay.
Spain has 9.
9 listens from Spain.
9 out of 2,800.
I totally could have figured this out. And I'll take a quick moment to shout out one of our loggers. Her name is Alex Bremeyer. I guarantee it's her. She's a former camper of mine. Her dad is the board of our Camp Laverne chair, the chair of our Camp Laverne board. And I know that she listens to us, and that's 100% what it is. I should have thought about this. All right. Carry on.
Russia
Thank you,
was
Alex,
7.
for listening. Sorry, what was next?
Russia was 7.
Russia has 7. Do you know where that's coming from?
Nope.
We're just huge in Russia.
If you consider 7 out of 2,800 huge, sure. Yeah, great.
That'll be our next shirt. We're a big deal in Russia. Lack of Genius podcast. We're a big deal in Russia. Oh my gosh.
And then the UK, and then Singapore.
How fascinating. I love that regardless of if it's 7 or 5 or 4, we are an international podcast officially. And that's
right.
You know what that deserves, John? Okay, enough of that. All right, John. Great question that I got correct. No, I got wrong.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I'm 1 for 3. I'm 1 for 3. You're 1 for 2. You want to try to take the lead now?
Yep.
In the last 25 and a half episodes, John, so this is not all time, just in the last 25 and a half, so the last half of our existence, how many holiday episodes did we do? Is it 9, 7, 6, or 4?
So we got Memorial Day, we got Valentine's Day, New Year's, and Christmas. I don't think I want to go before Christmas because then that's in the first half. Or is Thanksgiving in the second half? No, we'll do Thanksgiving. So that's 5. If I missed anything. Groundhog's Day. Is Earth Day considered a holiday?
Yeah, Earth Day's a holiday. Yep.
Earth Day. So that's 7. I'm going to go with 7.
You're saying we've done 7 holiday episodes in the last 25 and a half, and you are correct. Great job. It was fun to hear you list them out. Technically, the ones you listed are not the correct ones, but but luckily you forgot one or two that you replaced with other ones. For clarification, and you did not do this, our Valentine's Day episode was paired with the Super Bowl. I did not consider Super Bowl Sunday a holiday because it's not a holiday. It may feel like one. Here they are. Episode, I believe it was episode 27 was our Christmas episode. So Thanksgiving was not in the last 25 and a half episodes. That was one extra one. But in order, it was Christmas, Groundhog Day. You'll notice I did not include New Year's because we actually just did my birthday. We actually didn't do a New Year's quiz.
I did New Year's history.
Did you? I think
because I quizzed you and Erica on it.
Oh, wow. So you did. Okay, well then Kevin gets a, and you still get a ding, ding, ding. I maybe got caught up in a selfish place of thinking we only focused on me. But you're right, you did. You quizzed us on both. And maybe I just didn't look at the title close enough. So technically the answer is 8, but based on what I gave you, you're correct. So here we go. Let's name them again. Christmas is 1, New Year's is 2, Groundhog Day is 3, Valentine's Day is 4, St. Patrick's Day is one that you missed. That's 5. Yeah. Easter, I don't think you said, is 6. Nope. Earth Day is 7, and now because of our error, Memorial Day makes 8. So you got the answer correct based on the knowledge that my lack of genius on this subject. The correct answer is 8. I did not do a total of how many we've done all time. That's right. Yes, the New Year's history, and I do remember now. Oh my gosh. Well done, John. You should get double points, but I'm not going to give you double points. So, so that puts you at 2 for 3, though. So you did take the lead, and I'm 1 for 3.
Yep. And so this one, the next question actually takes us over to YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Which YouTube clip? So not which episode of the podcast, but which clip that we've put up has had the most views?
Okay.
Kevin eating Spam. Mm-hmm. Kevin meeting Ben Schwartz.
Okay.
The one about cornhole, like where we did the cornhole game.
Yep. Or
you climbing Mount Whitney.
Yeah, so this is a good moment you've already done it, but to plug that on our YouTube page, we try to post these on our various social medias on Instagram and Facebook, and you'll see them there. But you can literally go right now, and we have our page divided up into different. You can go to different playlists, including our full episodes or just these little clips, these little 1 minute or less clips of there's me trying Spam for the first time. There's me sharing a photo of me with Ben Schwartz. That's what that one's about, and telling that story. The cornhole one is you and I playing cornhole against each other, which you won, and we both did pretty terrible.
Right.
But you did less terrible than I. And then me climbing Mount Whitney. That's a video that I repurposed that I had made before. I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this because I've looked, but I was at first kind of surprised by it, but then I figured it out. The Ben Schwartz one, I believe, has the most views because it has the name Ben Schwartz in it, and people who randomly just search the internet for Ben Schwartz stuff have come across my name. That, and maybe just our own loggers have had a more like, oh, Ben Schwartz, I want to hear the story. So I'm pretty positive that Ben Schwartz is the correct answer. Yeah. I feel like I stole all the thunder because I talked about our YouTube page, but do you have anything else to say on it?
No, that's pretty much it. It just has it's had the most views.
All right, so I am now 2 for 4. So you're going to try to sustain the lead here on my 4th question. This is specifically about our opera episode. In that episode, featuring our professional opera singer guest Alyssa Rocca, which of the following was not one of her self-given nicknames? Okay, so she mentioned 3 of these names. One of them she did not. Is it the Lord of the Longfurbs, Divatron, the Italian Rapscallion, or the Queen of Chaos?
The Italian Rapscallion.
You feeling pretty good about that? You pretty positive about that?
No, I'm not. I'm second guessing only because of the self-given part. And I'm trying to remember if the Lord of the Longfurbs was something that she gave herself or if that was you.
Oh, got it. So yeah. You're seeing if I'm splitting hairs on you here.
Yeah. But at the same time, I don't remember the Italian Rapscallion being said at all. So I'm just going to stick with that. The Italian Rapscallion.
That is correct. Yes. I like that you almost overthought it because that means we're doing our quizzes correctly. We're having fun with them. Yeah, Lord of the Longfurbs is what she gave herself. In fact, I throughout the episode couldn't remember the nickname. I kept having to be like, what is it again? The Lord of the what? So she gave herself Lord of the Longfurbs. Divatron is her like Twitch and Instagram. Divatron 9000, but it's a I believe that's a nickname she gave herself, and that she said that.
Yeah.
The Italian Rapscallion I totally made up because she is Italian. She mentioned, and I remember she said that because her Italian family, I think, gives her a hard time for the way she pronounces Italian words, which I thought she did amazingly. And then at one point, she was making a joke about all these nicknames that she's given herself, and one of the ones she listed was the Queen of Chaos. And I went back and listened to that episode recently, so that's why that was on my mind. She was a fantastic guest. I loved Alyssa. I still love Alyssa. We should get her back on at some point because she was fantastic. All our guests have been great. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that was one I wanted to highlight because she did a great job. And you did a great job, John. You're now 3 for 4. You're killing it, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to keep pace with you as I'm I keep losing track. I'm 2 for 4. So I really need to get this last one right.
Which this is a toughie.
Sorry, I'm laughing because I just saw the question.
Yes or no? Should we keep doing the podcast?
You alluded to a 50-50 choice question. It's not a true or false. It's a yes or no. Should we keep doing the podcast? Now, are you asking me this question or are you asking just in general?
Oh, just in general. Should we keep doing it?
And you are the arbiter of what is the correct answer in this situation?
But the answer has been marked, yes.
See, here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to choose yes on this, but I'm like, wow, is this the way John is going to break up with me? Is in the middle of a quiz? Is he going to say, am I going to choose yes and he selected the answer no? I am choosing yes, John, you and I should keep doing this podcast. That's my final answer. All right. So you're not breaking up with me is what you're saying?
No. At least not yet.
Yes. Well, that is certainly our plan. In fact, I've already mentioned we have our next episode booked. We have merchandise in the works, and I think that it's going to be a good future for us in the podcast because I think one of the important things to do, and we haven't had specific discussions about this, but trying not to stay stagnant, I think, is the key for any sort of show, but really anything in life, and so. My goal for the next year, for the next 52 episodes, is to keep trying new things, stick to our formula that we know works, but be willing to try new things, bring guests on, and I'm excited for what we have in the future, really. So,
Me too.
I agree, and I too would have chosen yes if I had created that question. What's very exciting about this, John, is now we technically both have 3 answers right. You have 1 more question to answer. So if you'd like to win this episode, you must get this question right. No pressure. Okay. Otherwise you're tied with me. All right, here we go. Number 5, in the last 25 and a half episodes, how many times has the theme song played at the beginning of the episode been altered? How many times has there been some change to the theme song? 0, 1, 2, or 3 times?
I know it's been changed at least once, and that was for Christmas because we talked about it. Now, did you go and change it without asking? If it was like that, or without saying, hey, I made this change? That I don't know. So I'm just going to go with 1.
You're going to choose 1. You're going to say it happened once, and you're saying it was the Christmas episode.
Yep.
John, for the win. Your answer of 1 is incorrect. It was twice, and I did not do it without your permission. It was, in fact, just this last episode 51 and a half, where I played half of the theme song.
Oh, that's right.
Yep, I know. Oh, it sucks that it was so close, right? It was literally last episode. You know what, John? As much as it would have been nice for you to win, maybe it's fitting that we tied because this is a celebration where no one wins and we all win all at the same time. So we both, let's say we both won the episode, but we're all winners for being part of this community, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Yep, I think so too.
So how are you feeling, John? We're 1 year into this episode. What any thoughts on your mind? Anything you feel like saying?
Well, we're not 1 year into this episode, but we're 1 year into the podcast.
I'm saying it feels like we're a whole freaking year into this episode. It's been going on so long. No, I'm just joking.
It's dragged along that long. Time's gone that
this
slow.
already.
I mean, it seems crazy that it's actually been a year already. But it also seems like it's been more than a year as well. And I think we're going to keep doing it. I don't see us stopping anytime soon or slowing down at all. It's been fun. Grateful for the listeners. I know we've said it before, but this is kind of like NPR and PBS. Without viewers like you, we wouldn't be here. So
Yes. There was something you said last week, John. You said that at your at the wedding that you went to last weekend, people were coming up to you, not just talking about the podcast, but asking like how to start your own podcast. And I got to say, like, I really, if anyone listening to this right now has been sort of sitting on like, yeah, I want to start a podcast, but I haven't yet, I can't recommend it more. It's work, and it's kind of what you put into it. I will say it's much easier, I guess is the word I'll use, but with a partner, it does make the journey a little easier, but that's not to say that you can't do it on your own. And that I know, I'll speak for myself, but I know John, I'm sure would say the same thing. We'd be happy to tell you kind of what steps we took to get it going. The advice that I always give to people is just put it on the calendar. Just say next week I'm recording this episode and block out the time, and then and then choose one for the next week, and then choose one for the next week, because you make that commitment and you'll do it. And for me, quite frankly, if I don't make that commitment, I won't do it. If I'm just kind of willy-nilly like, yeah, I'll get around to it, it's not going to happen. So I highly encourage you to take whatever your creative idea is, if it's a podcast or not, and move forward with it and just put it down on the calendar and go for it.
Totally.
That's my TED Talk. I'll get off my high horse now. But I've been very inspired by doing this with you, John. Been very motivated, been very grateful, and just definitely echo John's sentiment of being so grateful to the listener, because literally we would not do this if we had 2 listens a week. Well, maybe we would do it for 2 listens a week. But if we're grateful that we get a general amount. I don't need to talk numbers, but we get a general amount that continues to keep listening, and that is just a gift to us every single time, and what keeps us putting the next date on the calendar and moving forward with this. So thank you for being one of those people, for listening to us.
Yeah,
we
totally.
appreciate you.
It's the Lack of Genius podcast in your ear holes at last. They don't know they're Mars from Venus, that's why it's the Lack of Genius podcast.
Wow, is this the way John is going to break up with me?